You had an argument with your husband. Now he's in the living room. You've closed the bedroom door behind you. Your heart is racing. Your chest feels tight. You're replaying his words in your head, getting more and more upset by the second. You are so frustrated that this is happening again. I have been there so many times. And what if I told you that there are 5 steps that you can take that drastically change how this plays out? And it probably isn't what you're used to doing. If you hate this feeling and want to start feeling better quicker, I have got you. I am Lindsay. This is Loving with Intention. Let's dive in so you can stop the spiral after an argument and get back to feeling connected and maybe even get an apology. I know exactly what you've been going through because I've been in this very same situation so many times. Back when arguments and blow-up fights were our normal in our relationship, I tried everything that you might be doing right now. Texting friends about how unfair he was being or the things that he said, scrolling on social media just to try to distract myself, lying there making mental lists or notes on my phone about all the things that he said or did and all the times he's done this before. It sucks, and it is a crappy place to be. Not only are you angry, but you're feeling hurt, upset, sad, frustrated, confused, and wanting to rewind before the argument started so that things could go differently. And the truth is, in these moments, your thoughts and your emotions are like a snowball. Picture the snowball rolling down a hill. With every frustrated, upset thought that you have, that snowball grows bigger and bigger and picks up speed, and soon it is out of control. You are stuck in a spiral of hurt and frustration that feels impossible to stop. I want to help you stop that snowball before it gets too big to control and smashes all over your relationship and your connection. So let's get right into the first step now. Feel your feelings. Maybe you've just shut the door and you're sitting on the bed, or you've left the room and you're in the kitchen. Wherever it is, if you have the spaciousness, feel the feels. Just feel the feels. If you tend to ruminate or think angry thoughts, again, send angry texts to your friends or just totally numb out. It can be helpful instead to name your feelings in your head or out loud. I feel sad. I feel sad that this is happening. I feel sad that we're not having fun. I feel sad that he doesn't care about me, or it feels like he doesn't care about me. I feel mad. I feel mad that he said all of those things. I feel mad that he acts like this. I feel mad that now things feel terrible and I know he won't apologize. I feel worried. I feel worried that the day is ruined. I feel worried that he's going to leave. I feel worried that this is just going to keep happening. Whatever is coming up for you, your feelings are valid. And when we get caught up in that spiral or totally numb out, we bypass those feelings that are there to be felt. Naming them brings them to the light, allows them to be seen and felt so that they don't just stay buried, festering and growing and hurting you even more. You can even journal this out if it feels good. And if you are a crier, cry it out. Your body is processing. So the second step, take care of your nervous system. Post-argument, your nervous system needs some love. If you are ruminating, repeating his words, sending angry texts to friends, or again, totally numbing out, whatever that looks like, maybe you're distracting yourself with the TV or scrolling, your nervous system, it really needs some love. When you get triggered with your partner and you're in conflict, your fight, flight, freeze response or fawn response kicks in, and it is doing exactly what it needs to do to protect you from what it thinks is a bear attacking you. It doesn't know this was an argument, not a bear. So you are in a wildly different state right now than if you were just chilling and laughing with your husband, of course. And when you're dysregulated like this, which happens in a split second when you get triggered, you can't think clearly. Your memory is skewed, so your short and your long-term memory, so you're not accurately remembering what just happened, and you're definitely not flooded with positive memories from the past. You see things as black and white. There's no gray, no room for two different perspectives. You're lacking curiosity and openness. You actually lose the part of your brain, access to the part of your brain that has empathy. So if you've ever thought, I can't believe my husband said that, or I can't believe I yelled like that, it makes sense that we do these things when our nervous system is, one, trying to protect us from not being killed by a bear, and two, we have no empathy in these moments. So just because it makes sense doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt the other person, but it makes sense. So how do you get regulated again? It is so easy to stay in anger, rumination, all of those things, because that's the nervous system spiraling. Instead, when you start to create a pattern of choosing to regulate, you can condense the time that you spend in that zone. My favorite thing, bilateral tapping. Left, right. You can do it on your shoulders. You can do it back and forth on your knees at a pressure and pace that feels good for you. This gets both hemispheres of your brain communicating again, bringing it all back online so you can access those parts of your brain. It is calming. It allows you to process the feelings. It is my absolute favorite. It is my go-to. I do it in the dentist chair. I do it if I am like anxious waiting for a phone call. I do it when I find myself getting triggered with my partner, in the car, at home, wherever. I can always tap. So when I can, I also pair this with a calming mantra. I say, I am safe, I am loved, I am fine. You can find anything that feels good for your nervous system. And I know that I am safe and I'm loved and I'm fine, but I'm talking to my nervous system who thinks that there's a bear here. And I'm talking to my inner child. I'm talking to the wounds that are getting triggered in these moments. We have all got wounds, big or small, so we get to talk to ourselves and help us get back to regulation and feeling safe. So you can walk, you can box breathe, journal and breathe at the same time. I mean, you're always breathing, but intentional breathing, or put on music that feels calming. There are so many techniques to regulate. Have you ever had a big cry, fallen asleep, and then woke up feeling completely different? I definitely have. You're probably exhausted, but you're in a different state. Your body moved through the dysregulation and back into regulation. When you're regulated again, you can see the argument differently with empathy, perspective, curiosity. You're able to think it through. So many times I've had this experience. I've finished my cry, I've regulated, and then I've been like, oh, I totally get what he was saying, but I could not possibly have seen that when I was in full fight or flight mode. I just couldn't. It's also super helpful to be tending to your nervous system daily, inside and outside triggered moments. It's going to make it way easier to regulate when you're triggered. You can comment system below, and I will share my favorite nervous system regulation techniques with you. I've created a huge toolbox over the years. This is a priority in my life, and it's part of my love journey process, nervous system love, because it's so important. So comment system, I will get that to you. And on to the third step. Now that I'm feeling clear-headed, it is time to take responsibility for my part. Obviously, this is no one's favorite part, but it is a necessary part of loving with intention, ding, 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 and nurturing your relationship. This isn't about blaming yourself or saying your husband didn't have his own role in what happened. It's about taking accountability for your role without justifying it. And you're just talking to yourself right now, in your head, getting real. You could identify to yourself, oh, I got really defensive when he asked me that question, or I totally shut down in the middle of that conversation, or even I've been pretty withdrawn all day. It can be easy and understandable to throw a justification in there, but I only got defensive because he was being mean, or I only shut down because he raised his voice. There are beautiful and valid needs underneath justifying, and it gets in the way of taking full accountability for your role, which we want to do. Owning your role, even to yourself, it helps to see that he's not the only one with unhealthy patterns. This can help soften your heart. And knowing your role is super important because it's literally the only place that you can create change in your relationship. The only place that you can empower yourself and actually change the dynamic between you two. The more you focus on his stuff, the more stuck you get. Taking accountability is part of the commitment keys of my love journey process. It means moving out of blame and into accountability, which is the only way to move out of the power struggle. So the fourth step, now that I'm all regulated and calm and I can see clearly, I can see my role, now it's time to apologize. When I lead with owning my stuff, creating space for his experience, and apologize to him, I'm really setting us both and the relationship up for success. Someone gets to go first. If it's me, I'm going to lead with that apology, and he will do the same too. And if you're thinking my husband never apologizes, this won't happen, this was not always the way for us. In the hard days, neither of us were very into apologizing or owning our stuff. Repair was rare. What I used to do was either just go back and be in his presence and be totally withdrawn, just wanting an apology, or I would launch into my feelings and ask for an apology. Withdrawing, not the healthiest move, bless me, bless us humans, we do these things, and launching into my feelings and requesting an apology, there's actually nothing wrong with that. And after an argument, usually one person needs to feel seen and heard before they can see and hear the other person. And if you're both in that place of needing to be seen and heard, it's a standstill. So if you approach with your feelings, your husband can make meaning of that, meaning that says, she doesn't think that shutting down on me is a big deal. I'm always the bad guy. She doesn't see what she did. And if you're the husband watching right now, the same goes for your approach. If you approach your wife mad at something that she did, she can make meaning of that too. So loving with intention, again, ding, 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 lots of ding, ding, dings, means choosing to lean in and go first. Create that safety. Own your stuff. I screwed up, I know it, and I'm sorry. And of course, there is more to the post-argument conversation, bringing in curiosity, healing, deeper understanding. But in the interest of keeping this video kind of short, I hope, we will save that for another day. So then comes another challenging part. I call it the mic drop apology. Apologize and mic drop. Let it land. If you apologize and then start talking about your hurt feelings, even though your apology was genuine and sincere, your husband can take this as, she just apologized so she could tell me what I did wrong, or she apologized but now she's justifying what she did because I was being a jerk. This has the potential to launch you right back into an argument. So instead, mic drop, leave it, talk about your feelings later, which again, can be hard because you would love to feel seen and heard, obviously, which makes so much sense. If you mic drop it, it can feel like you're saying, I'm sorry for what I did that hurt you. And this means that you didn't do anything wrong. And maybe it does feel like that to your husband. Maybe he's like, all right, I'm off the hook. She apologized. She owned it. I can just roll with my day. And that's not what it means at all. It means you're owning your stuff and you're giving space for your husband to process that. And you don't want to justify it. You really want to apologize. You know that you did something that hurt him or that wasn't okay. Often, husbands will respond in that moment with an apology for their stuff because you opened the door and made it safe. They feel seen and heard, and sometimes they won't. They'll feel good and go back to normal, like I said. So then what do? Fifth step, bring in connection. You can love your person and feel hurt by them. Both things can exist together. The truth is, you wanting an apology is you wanting connection. It's what all us humans want on a deep level. So if you lean into that connection, instead of doing what I used to do and still sometimes do, which was pull away, withdraw, be moody, you're actually leaning into getting your needs met if you lean into connection versus leaning away from your needs. Connecting with your husband, laughing, hugging, whatever that looks like, saying kind words, appreciations, it doesn't mean what you did or said was okay. It actually just starts to create a safer, more loving space for when you do share your feelings. When you tell them, I'm really, really sorry. I meant what I said earlier, and I felt really hurt by what you said, and I would love an apology too. And again, ladies, if you're like, bloody hell, why do I have to do all this? Just know that if I was talking to your husband right now, which I do talk to the men on Thursday's videos, I'd be suggesting the very same thing. This is not about the woman having to go first. This is about whoever is watching this video right now. You can empower yourself to go first. Even now in my relationship, sometimes we'll argue or be snappy and not apologize right away. We'll go about our day. We'll connect. That will be the next step after regulating and owning my role to myself. Then at the end of the day, one of us will go first. When I first started really loving with intention, and ding, 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 this was freaking hard because we hadn't built up enough evidence that we actually would apologize. So connecting and feeling good when I was still hurt, it was hard to lean into that. I was anxious. I was all up in my head. It didn't feel good. I was wondering what would happen. There was so much, but now we have piles of evidence. We can trust that repair is coming, and we have so many playful ways now of apologizing and owning our stuff, things I never would have imagined years ago that we would be doing. We are not perfect by any means. There's no such thing. Conflict is normal. We still have triggers that flare up, but I share where we are now compared to where we used to be, just to say if things don't tend to go well after your arguments in your relationship right now, changing the pattern, it takes time. It is something that I love supporting my clients in doing. It is so, so, so worth it in the long run, even if you don't see immediate change. If what you're doing now in your relationship doesn't feel good, it is the perfect time to get intentional with a change. So those 5 steps. Feel the feels, regulate your nervous system, get compassionately curious about your role. It doesn't mean that you started it. And the mic drop apology, and then connection before bringing up your feelings. Of course, this is like super nuanced and I can't possibly explore like every nook and cranny and angle. But if you start leaning into some of these steps, if you're not doing them now, that starts to change things. And of course, you can ask questions, leave comments below so we can explore every nook and cranny. So this brings me to your intentional action for the week. Nervous system regulation is so important in our relationships. Without it, any tool or plan goes right out the window when we try to stay alive in a bear attack. So comment system below to grab my free favorite nervous system regulation techniques. I love them so much. Taking care of your nervous system inside and outside conflict will help make any and every tip that I share here way more likely to be doable. You have got this. I'm sending so much love into your day. Remember that nothing changes if nothing changes, so it's the perfect time to comment system and give that nervous system some love. And the video on the screen is all about the nervous system and what happens when we get triggered and what we can do in that moment. So check it out and let's have a super intentional week.